Death sorceries encompass some of the weakest and the strongest attacks in the entire game. If we are to make a death-based build, what weapons and sorceries should we use? First of all, and most importantly, we have our main weapon, Death's Poker. If you want to put on heavy armor with 60 vigor and spam this weapon art, you can probably get through the whole game just like that. But that is far too easy and boring. So we're going to use it more opportunistically. The weapon art itself creates a small explosion right in front of you. The heavy follow-up creates a bigger explosion, and the light follow-up creates a trail of ghost flame that stays on the ground for quite a while. All these hit your foes with a crap ton of ghost flame, which deals magical damage and frostbite buildup. So anything weak to frostbite will almost certainly see an affliction at the receiving end of your weapon art. This weapon is classified as a greatsword, and has such a strange heavy attack that I make sure that I use it at every single opportunity that I get. Next up in our arsenal is Ancient Death Rancor. This spell casts several slow-moving skulls of death, with incredible range and even better tracking. Much like everything that happened freshman year, these projectiles will follow you no matter how far you run or where you hide. They are also wonderful at stunning some rather difficult enemies, giving you an ample attack window. I also had a Rancor Call equipped on this build, but I didn't find much use for it. It's kind of just a weaker version of Ancient Death Rancor. The final spell in our tool belt is Explosive Ghost Flame. This one, admittedly, is mostly used for its looks. Your Tarnished takes quite a while to cast this spell, but when it does go off, the Ghost Flame explodes out and paints the ground in a circle with 5 frosty flaming tendrils curving outwards from the epicenter. This spell is quite the stylish way to finish off fights, and can generate plenty of knockback to keep some smaller foes on the ground and out of the fight. All the aforementioned sorceries will be cast from the Prince of Death's staff, as it can boost the effectiveness of all death sorceries. Our 2 most important talismans for the realm will be the Shard of Alexander, for that wonderful weapon art, and the Godfrey icon, to enhance the potency of our charged spells. We have 8 red flasks and 6 blue, with the Magic Shroud and Cracked tier and the Opaline Bubble tier in our physique. Stat-wise, I ran with 40 Vigor, 30 Mind, and 29 Endurance, but those of you who want much more survivability, be sure to move some points from your Endurance and Mind straight into your Vigor. I just personally like 40 Vigor as it makes the game a bit more difficult, and getting hit much more punishing. We have 15 Strength and 17 Dex to wield our main weapon, 60 Intelligence as we deal mainly magical damage, 30 Faith to meet the requirement on our spells, and 8 Arcane as this build does not use it. All in all, it was fun using some weapons and incantations I've never used before, and I've seen people use Ancient Death Rancor and Death's Poker before. They looked a little overpowered, but using them myself, Death's Poker is definitely overpowered, and the tracking on that Ancient Death Rancor is absolutely unmatched. If you only use 2 things from this build, use those 2.